Programming is hard. I know that my smirk might make you feel somehow, or you might think otherwise, but it is really hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy or I'm gonna become crazy. But anyway, guys, welcome back to another video. And this is Extract on the mic. And on today's video, I will be giving you guys 3 tips on how to get better, as programming is something that's quite hard. So I'm gonna start with the first one, the first tip, which is choosing a language to specialize in. I'm sharing this mainly because of something that I have done and I've decided to do. For some people, something else might work, but for people like me who are too much perfectionists, we end up doing a lot of things and we never finish. Having something that you stick with is good for your health. So, like I said, my number 1 tip is finding a language that you want to specialize in. The reason why, and this is my personal reason why, it's mainly because of I had to look at the demand of the technology in my country, and one of the main languages that were in demand in my country was Java. So I was like, you know what, let me just focus on Java. I want to become a better Java developer. Not that I didn't know other languages, or I don't know other languages. I do, but I have more depth knowledge in Java than other languages because it's something that I'm specializing in. And I think from there we'll jump to number 2, which is practice. Like, this is important, guys. Practice is very, very important. Mainly because, just like in maths, when we were back in school, you knew that if you didn't practice algebra or functions or frictions or whatever, there would be a higher chance of you failing maths. And it's quite important for us to practice programming, because it makes things much more easier. You end up not feeling the imposter syndrome that a lot of devs come across. Like, you feel like you don't know anything. Well, else, you know a lot of things. And that's mainly because we find ourselves in situations where we don't practice. So if we decide, or if you decide that you want to start practicing, you will notice that you are minimalizing the visitation of the imposter syndrome, which is something that I have been gladly going through, where I had less imposter syndrome. And I think that's something that's very important. So how do I now practice programming? Like, that's the question that I asked myself. And my number 1 answer was, see the work that you do. Try put an extra effort in writing the code. Try doing something different. Try learning something new. For example, you can use generics in Java specifically, in writing a method that is reusable, and someone might say it's bad practice, or I'm over engineering stuff. At the end of the day, I know that I'm learning something. Sometimes you might be demotivated by someone else, but at the end of the day, it's important for you to learn that. And then number 3, the third tip, is you need to read code. A lot of us don't like reading. That's why most of us run to tutorials. It's vitally important to read code. You do not only read code to understand, but you read code to look at something differently. Meaning that if I decide now to go and read a specific open source code, there's a high chance that I might start writing code like that. Mainly because I went and read something new. And like I said, practice. From practice, when you're practicing, you use something that you did that is new, right? And because of that, you now have learned something new. And you come across a problem that might require that approach, you have already something in mind on how to approach it. I think that's also what makes a good programmer, is the more problems you encounter, the higher the chance of you being able to solve upcoming problems. So I think those are my three tips, and just one final one that just ran into my mind right now. One of the reasons I'm not a fan of tutorials, it's mainly because sometimes the person that's doing the tutorial for you, they are giving you a final product of a project that they were working on. There isn't much learning curve from a person who's consuming the tutorial, but there's more learning curve from a person who created the tutorial. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, you can go through a tutorial, but it's better when you go read documentation and you write the code from your own understanding. Because once you fail, get it wrong, try again and over and over and over again, go to Stack Overflow, ask ChatGPT, do whatever. You would have learned more than when you were going through a tutorial.